Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting for December 19th, Hamilton Township Municipal Building on Greenwood Avenue. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Publics Meeting Act. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll?
Mr. Capero?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Ty is not arrived yet. Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here. Everybody please rise for the saluted flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
Dear God, let us pray tonight for goodwill and peace throughout our world. During this holiday season, let us be thankful for all those people that we can gather together with. And let us pray for those who are with us in spirit. Remember that anything is through you, our hope. Hope is your guiding light that will welcome us into the new year, and hope is our faith in you. We make all these intentions in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Okay. Before we get started, I'm gonna turn the meeting over to Vice President Carabelli. He's gonna run the meeting. I've been under the weather a little. You can probably hear it in my voice. So instead of me trying to fight through this all night and cough and everything, I'm gonna turn it over to Vice President Carabelli, who will run the meeting.
Thank you, Council President. Before getting started this evening, I just want to, I know we have several teachers in the audience.
Nurses.
Nurses, I'm sorry. Nurses. Yes. We had teachers here a couple council meetings ago. So I just want to let you know, if you should, Madam Clerk, is it possible for us to I just wanted to let them know that we haven't had a chance to review it with the mayor and the administration yet. It's something that we're going to take under consideration. I know it was 2 weeks ago that you came here and you gave us some impactful information regarding the situation at the hospitals and the health care facilities. So I didn't know. I don't want to waste your time. Just is this a possible? Could we come up with a possible resolution or something like that for next year, like early in January? Is that something that we could consider as a legislative body then? I didn't want you to sit here and have to deal with our, go through the agenda. I know there's several members of you in attendance this evening. But if you wanted to sit and you wanted to say something, you're more than welcome to do that during our public comment portion. But I just wanted to make you aware of that, that we haven't had an opportunity to sit down with the administration and talk about this pending resolution for consideration.
Yeah, he wanted to make the announcement so you didn't sit here all night, and at the end of the night, then sit here and explain to you when maybe you might have other things that you could be doing with your families or whatever, but feel free to stay if you'd like.
Do you know when the January meeting would be?
So,
First meeting in January for consideration will be the 16th, correct?
16th.
Right. Our first meeting is just a
Is
reorg.
that too late?
Is that too late?
Can we do it at the reorg?
We're lucky enough, we're going to be back to work. So we just want to make sure we can get people here.
Can't do it. Okay. All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a way, we won't pick you up.
Yeah.
On the microphone.
You want to come?
If that's okay, if you don't pick me up, this is a personal question. Just in case we can't get a crowd, like we have a few of us here, is there a way to get a picture with you guys? And then if it's just maybe the two of us or something, we won't post a picture anywhere, and we would wait until...
Now or on the 16th?
No, we would not post it until we knew that it was passed and all of that, but I was wondering if we could take a picture today.
While they're here.
Well, they're here.
Because they're all here today. Because there's,
I'm fine with that.
Would it work, Sue?
I don't see a problem.
I'll ask our township attorney. Is that?
I promise I wouldn't post it anywhere.
Okay.
Or say anything about it.
Right, that would be our concern. It's just so long as you wait till after we actually act on it formally.
And I will put in our council chat that we have that we need to come back on January 16th, but I wouldn't even post anything about it. I would just
Great. That's fine.
Okay.
Let the record reflect that Councilman Ty arrived at 6:35.
Apologies.
Man, that's person.
Do you want to do that now? Can we do that now? Okay.
I'm gonna start announcing when kids arrive to my class.
For the record, he wasn't in the roll call.
Okay, love you back.
No, it's just how official, it's what I'm gonna do it to my students now. Let the record reflect, you should have 5 minutes. Now, kids in the office. Oh, you're fine. They don't get constant.
Can you guys just move in? Can you get everybody?
What?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
When do you guys come back to work?
Yeah, so now we're fighting the rest of the
It's only for us, only for our hospital.
Oh, that's right. They had the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your honesty.
No, take your time. Yep, you're welcome. You want me
You look presidential.
Madam Clerk, I guess we can jump back to the minutes.
Yes, sir, for your consideration, we have the regular council meeting minutes of September 19th, 2023.
Any questions?
No.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to move on M1 and approve the September 19th council meeting minutes.
Second?
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Next, for your consideration, we have consent agenda items CA1 through CA34.
Just to summarize a few of the items that are on the agenda this evening under the consent agenda, we have several reappointments to several of our township boards and commissions. We also have two CA6 and CA7, which are traffic regulations by the police department that extend from August of this year to January 2024. Updating state vendors and the certified amounts for those vendors. We have shared services agreements. There's about 8 or 9 with several municipalities. You'll find in there we have Hopewell, West Windsor, Robbinsville, Princeton, Lawrence, Ewing, East Windsor, and Hightstown for shared health services with our health department. We also have budget transfers that are part of the budget. We have 3, the SROs for our 3 middle schools. An agreement is in place with the school administration in the township. You'll find that at CA 19. We also have an agreement with Robbinsville for the next calendar year, 2024, CA 20, for the water treatment payments, a 2.25% increase over the 2023 figure. We have veterinary services with Dr. Goki. We also have the purchase of 2 vehicles for public works purposes. We also have an additional increase. CA 23 talks about an additional increase of 17 more body cam purchases. That's a $65,000 increase to operating expense. We have a bunch of refunds that you'll see through CA 24 down to CA 28. And then we jump into some performance bonds and release of those performance bonds. And we have an agreement in place, CA 32, talks about the Trenton water main repairs, an MOU with Trenton Waterworks. Just trying to see. And then we have a purchase on CA 34 F350. Any comments from the council body regarding the consent agenda items?
Yeah, just one comment on these shared, and just confirming with the shared services agreements for the board, for the health department. This is where the other townships are going to be sending their residents to our facility. We will be reimbursed for any residents that are sent.
Thank you for that clarification, Councilman Tai. Anyone else? Any questions?
Just happy to see our CFO's being reappointed.
Yes,
She's done
yes.
a phenomenal job.
She
and,
has.
Very, very happy about that.
I'm sure you are.
No, you are.
Seeing no further comments from the council, I would open up to the public. Any comments from the public regarding consent agenda items CA1 through CA34? Typo. Yes.
Janice Sonic, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, on CA 17, this money, what is all that money? That's how much it costs to put out the fire,
So this was the insurance, right? And this was a cancellation of that.
So if I may.
Okay,
right,
go ahead.
We had to estimate what it was going to cost us because this was not budgeted, obviously. It was an emergency, right? So the state lets you
right.
add to your budget the amount of the cost of the emergency, and then you have to raise it next year in your budget. So we estimated about $350,000 originally. And then the emergency itself cost us a little over $300,000. However, that we have some give in our budget that can absorb some of that. So we're going to only have to use $152,000 of the emergency amount numbers. The rest of it we're canceling. So this resolution, if council approves, cancels the balance of the emergency that we don't need.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
So
All right.
it basically will
Yeah,
cost us, and having to raise taxes, raise it in next year's budget, not raise taxes, that was, I'm not in that business, so. We don't have to raise as much next year, so,
Oh,
to
okay.
cover it.
All right.
Also, once, if and once the claim is filed or we receive any monies, that would be applied to that, right? It's almost like being
Absolutely.
reimbursed.
Yep.
So right now, we still have to pay for it, so once the insurance claim comes through, hopefully, right? Or whatever takes place at that property, then we should be reimbursed for that total.
If they
Yeah.
sell the property, would you get the money out of that being reimbursed? Because it looks like there's a sign up there.
I did notice that too.
I thought, uh-oh, who would want to buy that mess?
Yeah,
What
but
does
there's
the
still an
sign say?
ongoing
And
investigation.
good old rubber
What
There
does
is a
the sign say?
for sale.
For sale.
It's a big cloth sign, yeah.
Along that property.
It's a cloth sign, did you say, Janice?
It looks like a cloth sign, doesn't it?
That
It's like
doesn't
10,
sound-
12 feet long.
Oh, big banner.
It's tied to the fence, yes.
Because I'm thinking, how
I drove past it every
Because
day.
I thought that whole thing wasn't even settled yet, whether it was arson or not. And so,
Yep.
It's still an ongoing investigation, we can't talk.
then how can you sell it? Okay.
Well, the antennas just went up, I think.
Okay, and then on 32, water main repairs. Now, this is any water main repairs? Because the township came out, by me, there's a water main drain, and the lid's off of it, and it's sunk down, and they have a big thing around it, needs repair since July, and it's still there, and it has not been repaired. So they're going to be coming to do all this stuff?
Yeah. The way that I read that was that we were going to do the repairs and that they were going to reimburse us for that? That's
Yeah.
how I understood that. This was for the patches that we, need to put down for any of the work that was done regarding the water pipes.
Right, it's usually for an emergency, not necessarily for that, which might be
It's like
overall
a street
maintenance,
repair, yeah,
right?
the
So
lid
that
came
might
off
be a
and it sunk.
planned project that they'll have to do, and that may take longer. But when emergencies happen and they have to cover it up quickly, we want to make sure it's to the standards that we have here for our roads, and it hasn't been in the past enough. So we're going to actually fix it so that it is the standard of the road, so that you're not running over all these, crazy holes in the road that weren't
Sinkholes.
patched, right? And also if we do get a storm, I hope not, but it ruins the plows when you have that
Oh,
uneven
definitely.
road like that and the sinkholes. So we're going to fix them and then have to get reimbursed by Trenton Waterworks, actually.
Okay, so then I can call like Hampstead and just put it on and say, by the way,
Yes.
since July, this has been sitting here, wait
Yes, I
for Trenton
would.
Waterworks to come.
If
Okay.
it's Trenton Waterworks, yes, you can put it in Hampstead, and then we have regular communications with them. So, but again, I don't know how they plan out their repairs.
Okay, very good. She's on the ball today, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Kath. Thank you, Jess.
I guess you're not leaving?
I just want to, we also have in attendance tonight, school board member Tina Thornton. Good to see you here. Anyone else? Any comments from the public regarding the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Council President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA34.
Second motion?
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 123-049, ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-13, parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets except for Sundays and public holidays. This is the second reading and public hearing.
Now, this is a portion on Church Street. This is that parking will be prohibited in front of I believe, a school.
I'm not sure if it's a school or a daycare, but.
Daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah, daycare facility, yes. Any comments from the council?
That's in Groveville. Yep.
Any comments from the public regarding this ordinance on second reading? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass, to move on ordinance 123-049 on second reading and public hearing.
And close the public.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to see no further public comment. I'll move to close public comment and move on ordinance 123-049.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 223-050, ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 385, sewers and sewage disposal, Article 3, connection to sanitary sewer required exceptions, Section 385-13, connection fee permit. Second reading and public hearing.
And just so everyone's aware, this is just adding for for commercial laundry, 50 higher energy machines or more. It sets the gallons per day per unit schedule that we have. It didn't exist in the past.
High efficiency.
Right. Any comments from council?
No, sir.
Any comments from the public?
Council President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23-050 on second reading.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0, second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 323-051 is an ordinance establishing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 358, Privately Owned Salt Storage.
Now, just my own question on this one. This is something that was, we needed to model this after the state of New Jersey, and we're required to do this for salt storage, yeah,
Has to fall in with DEP's rules.
rules.
Is this all new verbiage?
It is all new. And actually, we rewrote it a little bit because it was badly written.
Any other comments from council?
She said it all.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments from the public regarding this ordinance? On second reading, seeing none?
I'd like to close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23051 on second reading.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0 on second reading. Ordinance 423-052, which is ordinance revising and adopting the zoning map of the Township of Hamilton, new streets, developments, and rezoned areas.
So this, this basically amends four specific, adds into our zoning ordinance the four specific sites that are referenced here. One is Waterview, no?
No. This ordinance adopts all of the changes that have happened to our zoning over the last
10 years, maybe.
6 or 8 years or something. And so it just basically establishes the official zoning map of the township with all the changes that have happened over the past several years. And it went before the planning board, which was approved by the planning board. And I don't know if the letter actually made it into your backup. It did. Oh, okay. So you're brilliant. You're wonderful.
Just to be clear, we're not changing our zoning. We are adopting a map that accurately reflects our zoning. That's
Correct.
all
That
we're
over the
saying.
years, as we've done various zoning changes, the map itself didn't really change with it.
Okay.
And so it now adopts everything that's happened since the last adoption of the map. This really should be done every year or every 2 years, give or take, depending on how many changes are made, just so that the map is correct.
What was,
Back to 2004.
this goes back
We're
to,
fixing things that have been changed since 2004, and we're now just making it official, even though it's already been done.
okay.
August of 2004, I think is the date.
Yeah, so the ordinances are done. It was just the map, the map itself.
Itself, okay. No, it's-
Official map.
Oh, I thought you were.
any other questions from,
No.
council?
No.
Questions from the public? Seeing none? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, seeing no public comment, to make a motion to close the public comment and move on ordinance 423-052.
Can I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 5-0 on second reading. Ordinance 523-053 is an ordinance authorizing the Township of Hamilton to enter into an agreement with Cruiser Road Investments LLC for the acquisition of real property located at 2367 Cruiser Road and designated as Lot 2575, lots 167 through 170, Hamilton, New Jersey, and to determine certain other matters related thereto. Purchase price $3,400,000, estimated closing cost $25,000, for the total amount of funding $3,425,000.
For those that are not familiar with this site, this is the property that sits across from, well, kind of across from the Recreation Department and across from Veterans Park, in that general area next to the Hibernians, so right around there. I guess my only quick question on this property was, we initially will use capital monies. How does that work? And then do we also then go after Green Acres and funding for to reimburse us?
We do this, and whatever we have to put out to close on the property, that's what we'll do. Sometimes you have some of the funding already from either Green Acres or Mercer County Open Space Fund, both of those things are funding this. So, but we'll get reimbursed by them for anything that we put out.
Okay.
We anticipate full reimbursement for this purchase.
90%.
90%.
We should be responsible for 10 of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Thank you, Kathy.
Very
It's a
good.
great deal.
Yeah. Any other questions from
It's,
council?
Just a comment, I'm glad to see this particular lot improved. Obviously, there was a lot of concern in the community about what was going to happen with this particular property. And I really believe that this is going to go a long way toward preserving quality of life for the residents who now surround this particular piece of property.
Any further comments from council? Any comments from the public regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Mr. Vice President, I'll move to close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23053 on second reading.
I'll second that, Mr. Vice President.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
This is 5-0 on second reading.
Okay. That brings us to public comment. Anything on the sheet? Oh, they left. Okay. Any members of the public wishing to make comment at this time? Lisa?
Good evening, Lisa Williams, Briner Lane.
Can you just move the mic up a little?
Oh, well, for once, not shorter than the mic. Is that good? Okay, I'm going to start with thank you. I did receive an email with the animal control procedures, and they're on the website, so I'm glad to have them. Disappointed in some of them. So we consider animals running at large to be routine, but they're not responded to in these procedures after the scheduled business hours of animal control officers. So we've now put in writing what I said at the stand some point in the past couple of years. So I have to get bit, or my dog has to get bit, to get an animal control officer response for an at-large dog when they're not normally on duty. That is pretty sad, but I'm glad we've put that in writing, because now the township is acknowledging that we have to get bit, or an animal has, please let me finish.
I don't think that's what it says.
Yes,
though.
it does.
It
I will
doesn't
read
say
it
you have
to
to
you.
get bit.
I will read it to
I
you.
respectfully disagree with
I will
that.
read it to you.
Go ahead.
So, under routine animal control matters, the last bullet, dogs at large off leash. If you read further, it'll tell you that only non-routine matters are handled after hours. And during regular business hours, which are listed in the table on the first page, routine and non-routine are being handled. Non-routine. The second item, bullet, is injured or vicious dogs or cats. The third is dog kills or seriously injures another dog unprovoked. The fourth is bites or saliva exposure from a dog, stray feral cat, bat, skunk, fox, raccoon, or coyote. Those items are handled after the business hours in Table 1. So that means dog attacks or kills another dog unprovoked. Dog running at large, it's not going to, until it bites something, isn't going to get addressed, because that's routine. So I'm walking my dog, and my dog gets attacked now. So the attack will result in an animal control response. The dog being loose does not result in an animal control response after the hours in Table 1, because it hasn't attacked yet. Dog at large on my property, just please let me finish.
No, that's my response.
Thank you. After the hours in Table 1 is not getting an animal control officer response. And if I try to deal with it and I get bit, now we get an animal control officer response. That is what this document says. So, thank you, I'm glad we have it, I'm not happy about it. The statute, and then it later goes on, special situations, residents who find and contain a cat or dog and can keep it overnight may contact animal control during normal business hours. If residents unable or unwilling to keep dog or cat, they can transport it to the shelter, where a police officer will be dispatched to assist them. So if we want to go out and catch them ourselves and hold them or drive them to the shelter, that's fine. But once they get in a kennel in that shelter, the volunteers can't touch it till it's been behaviorally evaluated. And we've heard that in this room. Okay. I'm going to go to the statute for animal control officers. NJSA 4:19-15.16. A certified animal control officer appointed by the governing body of the municipality shall take into custody and impound any animal to thereafter be euthanized or offered for adoption as provided in this section. It lists 5 items. I'm just going to go to item 5. Any dog or other animal off the premise of the owner or the person charged with its care that is reported to or observed by a certified animal control officer to be ill, injured, or creating a threat to public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise interfering in the enjoyment of property. My question, I see I'm out of time. I'll come back in for my 2 minutes later. How does this policy comply with this law? And just for creating a threat to public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise interfering with the enjoyment of property. Just so you know, I spent last Monday, my 3rd vacation day in court over a situation in my neighborhood. And the judge told the person who was found guilty of not being able to control their dog.
You're over your time.
That I have a right to peaceful enjoyment of my property.
Wait, don't go.
He just cut me off because he didn't like what I was saying.
Respectfully, I disagree, and I just want to, ask you, so listening to the statute you read, if you look at non-routine animal control matters, number 2, injured or vicious cats or dogs, nowhere in there does it say you have to get bit. It just says if the cat or dog is injured or vicious. So I can understand your point, whereas if a dog is running down the street and he's got a big smile on his face, he's not a threat, right? He's not
You
injured.
don't know that.
I said if, right? So I'm giving you a hypothetical. If the dog is running down the street, I agree, the dog should be in the yard. But this happens every day. There's dogs that get out and then they run around the neighborhood and they come back to the yard. Every one of those instances is not a vicious or injured dog. And every one of those would not violate that statute. That statute is not hurting the welfare of the town.
Look at the 4th bullet
On mine or on yours?
on the policy. That's the same policy you have.
I didn't know if you were talking about the
Oh.
statute.
Same policy. Look at the 4th, non-routine.
Bites or saliva exposure?
That's what we'll get a response in after hours.
So is
But so does vicious.
injured or vicious?
Sorry,
But
Councilman.
you don't know if
Yeah.
it's vicious.
But it clearly states that in the procedures on
It's,
the,
so
says
if
injured or
you,
vicious cats or
if you
dogs.
report an animal that's being aggressive, it
Right.
doesn't have to bite anyone in order for us to come out. If it's being aggressive, then that can get responded to per these. So,
Going to give you a scenario where I didn't think my dog was going to get attacked, and it did, and she ended up.
Are
So
we-
dogs,
Lisa, you know,
Next 2 minutes?
do you mind just coming up on the next, okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Steve? Which one is it though?
Steve Clegg, Wolfpack Road. Since we're obviously not having another Board of Health meeting, at the last one, Chuddy, you said you were going to look into the issue with a shelter employee violating their policy, going into the kennel to provoke the dog, and using the bite from that provoke as the excuse for killing that dog. Did you come back with anything from that?
I haven't really gotten a report yet on it, but I should have one. We should have some type of information coming back on that, shouldn't we, Kath?
You may have to send to me.
Yeah, we'll follow back up.
Just so I make sure that we're looking at the right one.
Yeah,
Thank you. Top of my agenda, I actually had a question mark on when the next Board of Health meeting is.
it's the 16th.
Okay. The other question that I also at the last Board of Health meeting, I had asked about why, if the shelter employees are going to flag these dogs as red and then not walk, so that no volunteers could walk them, but then also not walk them themselves, why volunteers who were willing, such as myself, could not walk these dogs. And it was stated it was a liability issue, but nobody could come up with what that liability was. And I believe Jennifer was going to look into that.
Yeah.
there's a potential for injury, right, Steve? If if a dog has been deemed dangerous and a volunteer takes it out for a walk, there are a lot of potential scenarios there where there could be injury to not just the volunteer, but to other folks who are just out and about, going about their business.
But so what's the plan if they decide they're afraid of the dog, and flat out sometimes that reason is not legitimate? That dog just sits in the kennel for months until what?
Can we not, we have professionals that are looking at these dogs, so I respectfully disagree to say that it's not a legitimate reason. The township is responsible for these animals. We're also responsible for everyone that is in our township. So if we have people that are reviewing the behaviors of the dogs and looking at them, while you might disagree with what our professionals are saying, but if our professionals have said that this dog is considered red based on the criteria that has been determined, then we have now made the determination that those dogs will not be walked by the volunteers. That is a full stop. Then it has to come to, can some of these dogs be pulled out by our employees? Some of these dogs, the problem with pulling them out, it's taking two people, they're having to rope the dog to try to get the dog out, and it's causing more stress for both the employees as well as for the animals. So in some situations, it has been that they have to leave the dog inside. It is not inside the kennel. It is not the best situation. I will fully agree that it's not the best situation, but sometimes that is the only situation.
Do you know how often that happens?
I don't.
As a percentage, roughly?
I don't.
Is it rare? Is it common?
I don't want to say something out of turn. That's something that, as a question, I will take back and try to find that out, the answer for you for the 16th. But I don't want to say out of turn without knowing that. And you're right, Councilman Ty, when it comes to the liability, we are looking at so yes, that someone has written off and saying, I won't take, it doesn't matter if something happens to me. But what if something happens to someone else while that dog is in your possession? That is still the township's priority, and it's still our responsibility. So we have just made a firm line that at that point in time, if the dog has been labeled red and has been labeled red by our professionals, then that dog will not be walked by volunteers.
And Steve, just to add on to that, I understand your concern, your frustration with that policy. One of the things about this policy that's different is the key word in a lot of what Jen was saying was we. So there's not a single person who's making this determination anymore. There's oversight to that. There's a procedure in place where there's a procedure that's followed. There's a committee that reviews the status of these dogs. So that gives me more confidence than in the past at the way the animals are being handled.
Yeah, I have to disagree on a couple of those things. One, given the number of times that dogs have been labeled aggressive and are now in homes with families, and nobody could justify why they were aggressive. If we look at just the last two dogs that were slated to be killed, one was, one wasn't. They were both labeled red. One of them was an emaciated dog who was labeled red because they gave it a bowl of food and tried to take it away, and he growled at it. Their policy or their procedure of reviewing these things is supposed to include a veterinary exam to determine if a medical issue is the reason for that aggression. They obviously didn't do that because that dog still, at that point and after, had a urinary infection in addition to being emaciated and 15 pounds underweight. And right after we raised the issue, thanks to Pat and Chuddy, that dog still had to go back to the vet for that urinary infection. And the vet gave that dog a bath with no issue. So he wasn't aggressive and he wasn't dangerous. And I'm willing to abide by whatever other safety measure they need. If we need to fence it off so that I'm the only one in that area at the time to take the dog off, I'll do it. But we've let these dogs sit in there for months, waiting for an evaluation, waiting for nothing. And then we decide to kill the dog. I'm saying I will take that. I will do it under whatever conditions are necessary to give that dog a chance. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay, Steve. Any other questions from council?
Hey, Steve, as a reminder, what was that dog's name again?
The one with
That was put down.
blue.
Councilman Blue.
Blue.
Steve, you know how I feel about the entire animal population, so I don't think I need to prove that to you. My question, or I guess it could even be a rhetorical question, as Councilman Ty has brought out, the shelter's come a long way, and we don't have one person pushing buttons, making in these determinations and these decisions, but we do have a team of professionals, as Ms. Eugene has says as well. My question, because I appreciate your opinion, my question is, if we have professionals, behavioralists, vets, we have these professionals making this decision, what's next?
You don't have a behaviorist making the decision.
Who's making them?
You have
Was it Hugers? They're not?
No. You have an animal attendant.
One of the animals on the she's been trained.
She's been trained to do it.
You know?
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't know it either, but I know it matters. I can't think of her name.
And then again, Pat, we saw in both those dogs, the oversight, the check of this committee was nothing. Neither of those dogs got that vet assessment to see if there was a physical issue. Neither of them had letters sent out. Neither of them were notified. The whole policy that the shelter has in writing was basically ignored.
I'm sorry, but that's 100% not true. In order for any dog to be euthanized, the veterinarian has to sign off on it. There is the line, the veterinarian must sign off on it before any animal is put down in the shelter. So, and I know that I don't have it in front of me, but I do know that those emails were sent out. Blue was on that list of places, and I read them. I believe I read it into the record last time, but several places said, we will not take that dog. So, sir, to say that nothing was done and no one did an evaluation and nothing was sent out, that is emphatically incorrect. So I will have to step in on that because I put that on the record last time. I did read that into the record. I don't have it in front of me at this exact time, but emails were sent out. People would not take them based on the record of that dog specifically. And so that I will categorically disagree with, because we have been following the policies that we created.
I have to say, the vet signing off is not the same as the dog getting a veterinary exam at the time you're deciding he needs to die because you call him aggressive is due to a medical issue or not. That he had a veterinary exam 5, 6, 7 months before that is irrelevant. And it's irrelevant based on the shelter's own written policy.
Steve, you can come back up for your 2 minutes.
Got it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make comment this evening? Lisa, for your 2. Yep.
It's Pastor down here. Pastor.
Lisa Williams, Briner Lane. We've just had differences of opinion on what's an unsafe or safe dog. But want to point out that a dog running down the street is smiling and friendly, and the person is supposed to know that that's an okay dog to be at large, and we don't need animal control to come out after hours. Just stop, please.
That's not fair.
Please stop. It is. I
Well,
live
you
it.
don't get to mischaracterize the facts and go unchallenged. We'll pause time when we need to address a misstatement. But you don't get to come up here and make misstatements.
But you're now misrepresenting my words and trying to downplay my words, because I respect what you said and I agree with you. But now you're turning me against you because you're not telling the truth about what I said.
Wasn't referring to you. So, routine is a dog at large. Routine does not get a response after normal business hours listed in Table 1. Non-routine, so a dog at large, as long as it doesn't bite someone or be determined to be vicious, whoever makes that call. Vicious is a legal term. I don't want to use that in this policy because it's determined in the court and has to have seriously attacked someone. So if it is one neighbor's interpretation that the dog is friendly and another's that it's not. You have to wait till the person who doesn't think that dog is not friendly to get bit, to get any help. The law, the statute, item 5, any dog or other animal off the premise of the owner or the person charged with its care that is reported to or observed by animal control to be ill, injured, creating a threat to public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise interfering with the enjoyment of property. A loose dog interfering with someone's enjoyment in our parks, on our streets, in their own backyards, is to be responded to according to the law. And that will only happen in normal business hours under this policy. I don't think the policy complies with the law.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else? See. 2 minutes.
Steve Clegg, Wolfpack Road. I also want to talk about the new animal control policy, and I agree with what Lisa said, but one of the other components missing is, it says if residents find and contain a cat or dog and can keep it overnight, they can do that, or they can transport to the shelter where an officer can assist them. What's missing is those people who may be able to contain a dog who's running in traffic or running through the park, but can't transport to the shelter. And that's a scenario that's been brought up because it's happened multiple times this year. So what's going to happen with that? And we don't know, to build on what Lisa said, there was a conversation in the incident with the 2 dogs locked into the ballpark this past year. It was about 90 degrees, thunderstorms were coming, no ACOs to be found. The conversation between the health officer and the sergeant on duty was, he's like, look, if you can't come get these dogs, I have to let them loose. I can't leave them out there. It's, it's basically a violation of the animal cruelty statute. There's no shelter, there's no water, there's no food. And the health officer said, well, we can't have you let them go, because what if it bites some kid? And he made that statement without anybody ever saying these dogs are aggressive or vicious or anything like that. So we've already recognized multiple times dogs running loose are a potential hazard to people, to other pets, to traffic. So it is an issue that needs to be addressed. Do they need to show up immediately, magically, because there's a dog in my yard? No, but there needs to be a plan to respond to these, and it can't be, like Lisa said, somebody goes out and tries to get it, and we've heard that on audio as well. Guy called and says, there's a dog out here, he needs help. Well, he's aggressive? He goes, no. He goes, we'll try to take him to shelter. He goes, what if I go to get him and I get bit? He goes, well, then we'll send somebody out. And that's exactly what Lisa's saying, because that's exactly what happened. And that's happened multiple times this year. So I think that's a big hole in this policy. Thank you.
So I just want to address, and there is a provision under non-routine animal control matters, and it does say included but not limited to, by the way, so that's important language. So it's not limited to the things listed here. It's a list of more common occurrences. That's number one. Number two, the last bullet point is unusual circumstances where animal control guidance is needed. That could include a dog running in traffic. That's an unusual circumstance. Typically, dogs have enough of their wits about them to avoid running in traffic. So if you have a dog running in traffic, that may qualify as an unusual circumstance where you can get guidance from animal control. The point being is there's a little bit more flexibility built into these guidelines than I think that you're seeing in how they're written.
I agree. I also think that a threat or something that's deemed vicious or not vicious is also subjective. What you may seem to be threatening and what I may not be the same. So if you feel uncomfortable, then you should call and report it. And no one can tell you if you're not in danger. If you feel you're in danger, right? Perception's reality. If you perceive that dog to be vicious, to you, it's vicious. So that was my point earlier. I think when you look at these rules, One person may read them one way, one may read them the other. If you feel you're a threat, if you feel that there's a vicious dog, then you should pick up the phone. You shouldn't say, oh, I saw online, it says A, B, or C. If you feel you're a threat, if you feel the dog is acting dangerous, and you can articulate to the dispatcher, the dog is running in and out of traffic, charging towards kids. If you can articulate all of that, now it takes it from something that's respondable, from non-respondable to respondable. But it also takes somebody on the phone to make those, to articulate what it is they're seeing, not just, oh, there's a loose dog running around, right?
I agree, and, you know, it's easy enough.
It's communication skills.
It's easy enough for you and I to have these conversations, because we do this all the time. But as I listen to these CAD calls that come in all the time, there's a huge translation that happens between the caller, dispatch, and who he calls. So usually the dispatch, the first thing when he's told there's a dog running loose, he goes, is he vicious? And people will say no, because they haven't been bit, they haven't been attacked, but they see the dog running through, or the dog's sick on their porch or whatever. So it doesn't need to be vicious for you to get bit. You just got to reach down there for that dog to grab him when he doesn't want to be grabbed, and you get bit. I mean, that's true. Dogs don't typically, you know, the amount of vicious, aggressive dogs is a phenomenally small percentage. The people that get bit are the ones that don't respect the fact that it's a dog. So anybody going to grab it or put him in the car, that's when they get bit. It's not the aggressive animals running loose trying to kill everything in sight. It's that. And that's what we're trying to prevent, because once that dog bites somebody, it's damn near a death sentence for them. Plus somebody gets bit and somebody gets hurt. And that's the whole point of this animal control falling under a public safety issue. It's to prevent a lot of these things, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, you know, just the one thing is, I don't think it's practical to send out an animal control officer every time a dog gets loose, right? Like typically what's going to happen is the dog gets loose, the dog's owner realizes the dog is loose, goes out, finds the dog, brings the dog home, right? So like in the overwhelming majority of cases, that's hopefully how a loose dog is going to be handled, right? In a case where a dog's being neglected, is chronically loose, then that's unusual circumstances, right? This dog has been loose several times this week. That's an unusual circumstance. Now, you know, we've got something that maybe animal control needs to respond to, right? So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what changes you would want to see if we were going to edit this document. What would you want us to change?
Certainly that if somebody's contained an animal and cannot take it to the shelter themselves, that somebody
It doesn't have the ability to transport. Yeah, it doesn't have the ability to transport the dog or cat or animal.
Or may not feel comfortable with it. I may, see a dog out, he's running through traffic, and just quarantine him in a ballpark or somebody's backyard. Or he's in my backyard, but I can't give him shelter for the night. I can't leave him there. Somebody needs to come get him. That definitely should be changed. The response to simply dogs running at large, again, I listen to all these calls every week. The police, and it is backed up by the numbers we got from the health department. The police respond to more than 75% of the animal control calls before animal control even gets involved. So these loose dogs, almost all the time, the police will go at least drive by and see if it's still there. The problem is when somebody calls for help and they're told, nothing we can do, there's no animal control. That's the problem. So something needs to fill that gap or that miscommunication or whatever is going on, so it's at least more consistent. If it's that the police got to go by and see if they can contain the dog or whatever and they need animal control help, or you send an ACO out there. But yeah, a dog that just happened to pass through my yard, yeah, by the time anybody gets there, he's 3 blocks away. At the same time, you know, there's plenty of calls. Hey, there's a dog running through the ballpark, dog running through gear. I was trying to walk my dog and the dog chased me, he ran off. That's a good sign that the next person walking their dog is also going to get chased by this dog, and somebody needs to go out, whether it be police or animal control.
And that's an aggressive dog that should be responded to if it comes after you and your dog. I think you raise a good point, Steve, with the issue of folks who can't transport the dog. And maybe that's something we can look at and consider
Okay.
what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else from the public? Yes, Janice.
Basic, that's the basic hang-up, is that one item.
Yeah, the transport. Yeah.
Janice Godfrey, 32 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. I just wanted to let them have their say. You did a very good job taking over instantaneously there, Mr.
On the
Carabelli.
spot tonight,
Really
on the
impressed.
spot tonight.
Very good. I'm not
Thanks.
prep for anything. And for the rest of you, I hope you have a very happy holiday. And
Thank you.
wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Janice.
Anyone else from the public wishing to make comment? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the council. Councilwoman.
Always me first.
Yes.
I'm also a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to keep things brief. Yeah, I think everybody's got something right now. But I just want to thank everyone who came out tonight. And that's why I keep trying to cough this way. But thank you again. I mean, this is a busy week. Thanks for coming in and being here with us tonight. And hope everybody has a safe holiday season, and also hope everyone who celebrates had a happy Hanukkah as well. And we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you. I'd just like to just at the end of the year give thanks for all of you who regularly attend our meetings and give us the input. This procedure we were just discussing wouldn't have happened without your input, so I appreciate. And I want to thank the administration, our township attorney, our deputy township attorney, for all the work they do. You know, really all the folks who work for the township. You know, the map is a good example of something that has been needing to be done for many years, and we're getting it done. A procedure like this is a good idea. We're getting it done. Is anything ever perfect? Obviously not. You know, there's always room for discussion of these things and improvements that can be made, but I appreciate everyone's efforts at protecting the quality of life for our residents. I'd like to just give a special thank you to the clerk's office and all the employees in the clerk's office for all the help that you've given us this year. You know, and when you think about this meeting is a microcosm in a way of what we've accomplished through this year. And I just want to recognize that working together with the mayor and the administration, that we've accomplished a lot, preserving open space, taking measures to preserve quality of life, to protect the health and safety of our residents. I appreciate all of my colleagues on this body and how hard they work for our residents. So it's a time of gratitude, and I guess I just talked about a few things that I'm grateful for. And I do wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing everyone in the new year.
No, I just want to reiterate what Councilman Ty said. Thank you all. We have a great team here. And thank you to our legal counsel, Jen and Alyssa, and Kathy. You do a fine job. I truly appreciate all the work. And to our clerk's office, just do a wonderful job each and every day for the public. I want to thank, and I know we'll have a chance on the second, but I just want to thank you for your leadership, your work, your transparency, your communication with us as a council body this year. I think things went very smoothly. That's a testament to the time and effort that you put into it. So thank you, Council President, for all the work that you have done. Now I want to wish everyone a happy holiday and all the best. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing everyone in the new year. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you to all of our staff. We don't get this job done without all of you, and we know it, and we appreciate you. Also want to thank everybody for the teamwork, for all my colleagues. want to wish everybody Happy Hanukkah, Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever it is you celebrate. Life's short. Enjoy it. It's all about family. It's about memories, and that's really all I have. I appreciate you for always being there for me. Look forward to what comes next with our new president and vice president, and just want to call it a night, and that's it. Thank you.
I'll try and keep this brief, but first off, I want to thank everybody. It's been an honor, to serve as president this year. So far I've served under 4 of them. So they gave me a preview of what to expect. But more importantly, like everybody said, is that we can't get it done without being prepared for the meetings. Our team, the administration, our lawyers, Kathy, our clerk's office does a wonderful job making sure that I'm prepared, which hopefully makes it for smooth sailing during a meeting. But I also want to thank our regulars that come out every meeting. I don't think, Janice, have you missed a meeting this year? I don't think so. So it's always, it's always good to see familiar faces that come here because they love the town they live in. They want to be part of it, and that's important. And, Steve, Lisa, I appreciate you guys both for your input and your questions regarding the shelter or any other issues that may have come before us in the past year, but, we're always striving to improve, right? It's not perfect, right? Like we said before, our shelter wasn't perfect. I know it wasn't perfect when I came on board as a councilman, but I think we've made tremendous strides, all right? And do we tweak things as we go along? Hopefully, we find things out as you move forward. With anything. It could be the shelter, it could be any problem that we're confronted with, right? We try and do the research, we look into it, we put it in front of legal to make sure that, hey, what we're doing, does this comply? So I think we do a good job, a great job, matter of fact, and again, I appreciate my colleagues have been nothing but supportive and very helpful to me, so, been nice to run my last meeting, but thank you for pinch hitting, Anthony. I appreciate it. And like he had said, and I'm going to say too, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everybody has a safe and joyful holiday season. Spend it with family. It's an important time of the year. So with that, I'll bang the gavel one more time. Thank you.